vacuum cleaners require regular maintenance. I want you to think of your vacuum cleaner like your lungs. It's like a set of lungs breathing in, sucking in all the time. But if those lungs are sick and congested, like a vacuum cleaner filter, congested, full of dust, then they're not going to be able to suck in the way that they ought to be able to do. One of the things that really alerted me to my neglect was the sound of it. Now the vacuum cleaner is still sucking and it is still working, but I can really tell it's not working to its full capacity like I'm used to it being. We all know we've got to empty the canister or empty the dust bag, things like that. All vacuum cleaners have filters that need to be regularly cleaned, and some of them even have filters that need to be replaced from time to time. And I just have completely neglected all the maintenance that's required for this machine for the last couple of years. You know, time slips by and I tell myself I'm going to do these things tomorrow or next week, and then it doesn't happen. First of all, if we're going to do a job like this, we've got to get prepared. So I'm going to bring out a little table, get myself set up so that you can see what I'm doing. Yes, I am situated in a carpeted area here, but that's okay because I have another 2 vacuum cleaners actually, and I'll have no problems cleaning up after myself once I finish this job. But do take those sorts of things into consideration, especially if you only have the 1 vacuum cleaner, because cleaning it means that you're not going to be able to use it whilst it's drying. So please keep that in mind. Like any responsible owner of expensive equipment, one goes to the manual and gives it a quick old read. When I'm doing any dirty jobs, I like to wear cotton inserts in my gloves because I don't like that sweaty feeling that you get by wearing gloves for long periods of time. I live in a household with 6 males, and all of those males use the vacuum cleaner from time to time. And excuse me. Got it. But it's a really good idea to check a few things whilst you're at this point. Check down that pole. I don't know whether you can see in there, but it actually still looks quite clean in there. But check the pole for any clogs or potential clogs. Check the wheels, that the wheels are still there, because of course you don't want your vacuum cleaner scratching the floor. Check the bristles. You're going to regularly want to vacuum those bristles and make sure they're nice and clean. This is nice and clean because it's new. So I'm okay with this one. One of the ways that you can clean this cord is taking it outside and giving it a hose out. But in these sorts of parts, we just want to double check that there's no issues or clogs going on. Now, if you find you do have any clogs in something like this, here's what you can do. You can get your mop pole. As you can see, I need to replace this. It's getting a bit rusty, but take the mop off. Minding the ceiling that you don't accidentally bang into that, but you can pop that down in there like that to ensure, just in case you have a little clog of some paper or some fabric, or otherwise put the hose down it and clean it that way. So the filter and everything is in behind the dust canister. Here I'm going to point out that there's the max line there. A lot of people ignore that max line and think that they can actually fill the whole thing up, but that's actually not the way it goes. Because of course you need to have room for air to circulate in order for the vacuum cleaner to work properly. Air circulation, just like your lungs circulating air through your body, is really important in a vacuum cleaner. So first of all, we're going to empty this. And I've got a rubbish bin just here. When you are cleaning the bits of the vacuum cleaner, you do not want to use any harsh chemicals, because the harsh chemicals could actually make the plastics brittle and more prone to cracking. The same applies for drying it. You don't want to put all these bits and pieces out into the sun, because the sun might make the plastics brittle and more prone to cracking. If you put wet components back into the vacuum cleaner and then the suction action will draw that moisture into the engine and kill your vacuum cleaner. Keep that in mind. You're going to clean these things, you're going to leave them for a solid day or two to be thoroughly dry before you put everything back and start using your machine again. Absolutely caked on. No wonder my poor vacuum cleaner sounded like it was struggling with this poor, absolutely caked on dirt onto the filter. Before I do give everything a rinse, I'm just going to give things a little wipe inside this machine first. I've got some wet rags here. I save all old towels and old t-shirts and things like that, cut them up into rags, and then I use them for jobs that are really dirty where I don't really want to rinse out the cloth. I'll just dispose of it. Disposable, but in a good way. At least it actually gets one last use of this. So I'm starting on the outside first because that's the least dirty place. And I want to give this machine a really nice clean. That's my table squeaking. And I'm also going to clean in here. No chemicals, remember, just water. That's all I've got. It's just a damp cloth. And of course it's a damp cloth because you can't clean with a dry cloth. So far so good. Looks a lot cleaner. A few little bits there that I could get a bit more into. Let's go and clean these other bits. I'm going to head off to the laundry now, and I'm going to clean those bits. Get excited. Got my other little rag. I'm just going to start with the smallest bit. Just running some water through that. And now for the actual filter. So I'm going to take that back off again. Unlocking. Now remember, caked on dirt. I'll just put that over there. It really is dirty. Nice and clean. Here we go. This is the worst part of it. And as I said, this is the lungs of my vacuum cleaner. And they're in a very sorry state. Excuse the state of my sink. In my house, I've done a lot of painting inside and outside of the house. And so I've kind of sacrificed this laundry sink because I know we'll just eventually replace it. So it does have paint splodges over it that I can't get off, but that's okay. It's a well-used laundry sink and that's what it's there for. Things don't always have to be perfect. Oh golly. Of course, if you're smart, you'll clean your vacuum cleaner before it gets to this stage. A lot of different vacuum cleaners have multiple types of filters. Some vacuum cleaners have got filters you need to clean. Some have got filters you need to actually repurchase every 6 months or a year. Some actually have both. It's up to you to know what you've got in your vacuum cleaner, because you're the one who bought it and you want to look after it. I'm not using any pressure at all. I'm just using this empty bit of my gloved finger. I've done the absolute best that I can here. It's a lot better. It's not perfect, but I don't want to break it, and I at least know it's a lot cleaner than what it was before. So that's got to be a good place to start. And I was very, very gentle cleaning it. That's going to sit here to dry. And then we'll put it all back together again in a couple of days' time. But before I leave here, of course, I'm going to give this a clean because it's such a dirty job. And now we wait for everything to be thoroughly dried, which will take a day or two, depending on the weather, before putting everything back into place. Of course, as I said before, you do not want anything to be damp, because if it does, it's going to suck up water and it's going to kill that motor. Water and electric motors, not a good mix. So make sure everything is perfectly dry before you go putting everything back. To put this machine back, we need to put the pre-filter back into place as well. So that's nice and clean. So this was as clean as I could get this, but it's certainly at least not all clogged up with very thick dirt. So it's going to be able to allow for that air to circulate through the machine a lot easier. And then let's quickly pop it on and see how great it sounds. So there you have it. A machine like new again. So all it takes is cleaning those filters. It makes a big difference to the performance of the vacuum cleaner and the longevity of the vacuum cleaner. Because of course, the whole idea of a vacuum cleaner is that the air needs to move around and circulate. I hope that inspires you to wash the filters in your vacuum cleaner, or at least get out that manual and have a good look as to what's happening for your machine. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.